following podcast is recorded and produced by the Podcast Precinct in affiliation with the network at bicbp-radio.com. The Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, culture.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Sci-Fi Update. I'm your host, Tony Harper. In studio with me, I have my guest, Dave Clark.
Good morning, everybody.
I am recording on a new piece of equipment, so if you're looking at this on YouTube, it should come across a lot better, look a lot cleaner than the last thing I tried to do. It will be much easier for me to edit with one audio or video file than it was for me to try to edit with two video files. And hopefully that will work. So let's get into the news. And then today's topic is going to be, so you guys can stick around, the best sci-fi books to movies and the worst sci-fi books to movies. Right? Or shows. We might do some shows in there too, because one of my top 5 ones is a TV show versus an actual...
I went all classics accidentally.
You really did. All right. So news. It was a little late on news this week. I don't know if it was a case of like all the news comes out in the second week of the month or something like that.
And they're probably busy with that war thing.
Yeah, it might be busy with that war thing. So let's see. A new book called Intergalactic Bastard by Dave Walsh is coming out soon with no release date yet, but it's based off his previous short story of the same line. Tagline leads the Galaxy's mightiest warriors laughed at humans entering the arena until they met the bastard. Who knows? Should be interesting.
That seems a little pro-human. I mean, can't we be a little more forward-thinking? Why can't it be, we rented a guy from like Omicron 9 and entered him in under our name, and then we juiced him up and hold on. No, I'm just thinking about the Olympics.
Or the Halo show that came out. I do want to cover a little bit of the new Halo show because I want to try to do at least some kind of show that I'm launching weekly as well on my shows. And Halo is going to be it for right now. I kind of did like my first show, though. All right, so the lightsaber from Fallen Order will be available at Disney's theme park, the Galaxy's Edge.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not a Disney fan. I'm not going to lie and say I am. It's just beg for sponsorship. Although I do look a little like Jabba the Hutt in case they're looking. But that is one place that I do want to visit.
I do too. Like they were in construction the last time I was in Disney, and I wanted to go this Christmas when I went down to go see my grandmother, but they were sold out by the time I went to go look and do all this stuff. It was 3 months ahead of time, and it was already all sold out for Christmas.
I got 2 adult friends who don't have kids and are unabashedly Disney fans, and they went there solely to go there and got tons of pictures. It looks like they had a really good time, and I am just a little bit jealous.
That lightsaber was voted by fans to be included at the theme park. If you could have had any lightsaber from the Star Wars series, what would you have?
That's a tough question because I have almost all of them.
Of course you do, Dave.
The background of my phone, the background of my watch, or on my lightsaber wall. It would not be Vader's lightsaber. It would not be Luke's. It would be Mace Windu's.
Really?
Yep. Only from an actual, as I do, oh God, I'm going to nerd myself out here. I do lightsaber fencing.
Oh, yes.
And from a fighting standpoint, Mace Windu's is probably one of the best. Yoda's original, New Hope original lightsaber is a very good fighting one, but the absolute worst ones were his name Dooku, or Count Dooku's, the curved ones. Impossible to use.
What about Darth Maul's? Because that would have been one I would have.
I have a double
lightsaber. I think
lightsaber.
it's already probably in there.
I have 2 Darth Maul sabers that hook together. As a fighting implement, unless you're like a 14-year-old kid with the joints of the young, yeah, it's basically useless.
All right. Back to books here. There is a 5th annual independent science fiction story bundle that you can pick up this week. You can get 4 of them for $5. They're all $20 off the website storybundle.com if you're interested. All brand new authors, all not probably very famous authors.
Well, that's I try to read at least 1 or 2 stories from the Nebula Awards each year, and I like new authors because every once in a while they have a new idea.
I get that. Moon Knight from the MCU releases this week, March 30th, on Disney Plus.
Not my favorite comic book.
Really? Well, they set a new record, actually, for the least amount of reshoots ever done by a series.
That was probably just because it's so dark. I watched I saw a meme the other day about Batman,
Right.
65 to 2022, and they showed the lighting of each one. And in 1965, full lights, colored, beautiful, all the way to 2022, where it's like, is there a picture in there? So I wonder if that's what they did. They just did everything shot at night so they can get away with a lot of things. Like, hey, there's a cameraman in the corner. No, that's a trash can. You can't see it. It's too dark.
I get it.
I have hope for it. I do have hope for it. It just, it wasn't a story that really pulled me in as a kid.
I'm not really going to probably put this high on my list to watch right away. I like Marvel stuff, but it's not really where I spend a lot of my time watching shows at. Former BioWare boss is set to release a new sci-fi game in late 2024, but the details are kind of light. I do believe he set up his own independent studio, and I think I just stopped recording.
Nope, it's recording.
No, that one is.
Oh, my sexy self is not recording. There we go. I can hear me again.
Oh no, it's going back in here. I almost think I have a 5-second audio. Or no. All right.
I think you actually rewound all the way.
I did. Don't delete.
Don't delete the hype, folks. I am... No, it's still there.
You're still there. I don't think I need anything, Matt. I accidentally hit stop by moving the mouse and the table just slightly. The mouse clicked down. So we're going to kind of leave this in the episode the way it was. Hopefully it's not too messed up. I'll listen to his post-editing and try to fix that. Just in case, we were talking about the BioWare boss set to release a new sci-fi game in later 2024, but the details are kind of light.
I find that exciting because I love BioWare games.
But he's not working for BioWare anymore. Was it Microsoft bought out BioWare?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
But the creative minds that brought me all the games I love from Knights of the Old Republic all the way up into Commander Shepard, Brain Networking. It's terrible having a person on a podcast who can't remember a name. Plus, I'm going to leave there because I can't think of the name.
All right.
That's terrible. There are people screaming at their computers right now.
Well, what the name is. Yeah, exactly. Or the Rick Carr or whatever they're having to listen to us. And I listen to a lot of podcasts in my car.
Oh, yeah, so do I.
All right, so Paramount Plus is re-releasing the original Star Trek movie in 4K. Should be available at the end of the month.
Movie's fine, but there's a point where you don't want to see everybody's blemishes.
So that should be interesting, maybe. We'll see. Archive 81 has been canceled after one season on Netflix. Did you try to get into this at
No,
all?
I didn't know anything about it.
Archive 81, because I kind of looked into at least the trailer on it. I'm not even sure if I started watching the first episode. I sort of did, sort of didn't. It's basically about like a college-age girl going into what was she doing again? It was she was rewatching a documentary and trying to piece everything together.
Oh, I did see the trailer for that. That only got one season, really.
It only got one season.
I really meant to actually watch that.
I did too. Like
totally
I think I was watching the first episode where she shows up in this house in the middle of the freaking woods to start going through this archive.
2 audio tapes.
Right. It was audio tapes. Well, there were some videotapes too,
okay.
and she was kind of archiving all that kind of stuff. It was pretty flat in the first episode, so I don't even think I finished the first episode.
Oh, that's never good.
So that might have been why this has been canceled after.
No, you said Archive 81, and I immediately thought Warehouse 13.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking too. Immediately with that too, it was going to be a Warehouse 13 offshoot type of thing, and it really wasn't. I think they were going to get into the sci-fi stuff, try to make it a little bit more like Stranger Things type of thing, and I just think it fell flat with the storyline.
That could have been on my list.
Speaking about Stranger Things, season 4 part 1 drops May 27th, and then part 2 drops July 1st.
I am a complete season 3 missed it at this point. Just haven't got there yet.
Honestly, I am too.
Sorry, world.
And it isn't because it isn't a good story. It's a great story. My wife and my kid watch it. I got into a different show at that point in time, and I play a lot of video games. So I kind of killed my time doing that versus
my time slot had to either be Stranger Things or Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, I loved Cowboy Bebop.
And I can't believe they canceled it already.
I can't believe they did either, and it wasn't even a bad remake on it. I do see where some of the changes those like that's a little tough to swallow, but some of it was going on pretty good, except for until they got to the French guy, the clown guy type of thing, and that whole thing. Like they tried to recreate the anime in a live action thing, and that was trash.
Well, sometimes you can't do it.
Honestly, that whole scene, that whole show part of it was trash. Some of it wasn't too bad. Like the reason why he was afraid of dogs and ended up being afraid of Annie. You kind of get that from that part of it. But the fight scene and the carnival thing, that just that was horrible.
Kind of like Yoda being a pinball.
And the last thing I got for you is a live action Voltron is in the works. Details are still a little bit light, but what's interesting about it is there are several studios bidding on it, to include Universal, Disney. A couple of people were like big names are bidding on doing this live action Voltron. You know,
I crossed my fingers and hope, but a chill just ran up my spine.
you know what's even more interesting? Netflix is not one of them bidding on it.
Really?
Yeah.
That is strange because that's kind of right up their alley.
Kind of like they had Voltron on there.
But then again, then they might be getting judged against their version of Ultron, and
their version of
Ultron.
Ultron wasn't as good as what I remember in the 80s as a kid.
Oh, it was terrible.
So, yeah, I mean, I get that. I never did stomach to finish watching it.
No, I watched the first 3 episodes and I was like, I will never watch this again.
I think I had stopped at episode 1.
Yeah. Well, the wife and I have like a pact. I mean, it's not a blood pact. We didn't bleed out onto the couch or anything. But we give a show at least 2 episodes.
Usually I will too. Voltron.
First episode's always terrible. It's always, because they got to give you the background. They got to lead you in as fast as they can and pull you by the nose. But the second episode, you start showing some story. It doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't always happen. I'm trying out some new features on
okay.
Other things, so I switched over to you as to being the main
Hi, world
person. And then itched my nose.
All right. So he's got the whole hand jammed up in there, like.
All right. So today's episodes, your top 5 and best and worst books made into movies or TV shows. Now we're gonna do this one for one. So you get to pick one and then discuss it. Because you're the guest, I'll let you go first, and then I'm going to pick one and discuss it. All right?
I might steal your one of your worst.
You might.
Because I have a worst that I just... I hate. Absolutely hate. You want to do best first or worst first?
Let's start off with best.
Okay. In that case, that's good because that's one I got my notes on right there. Best for me, Starship Troopers.
Oh, you
That's
stole
the
one.
worst.
I'm gonna have to
I stole
say
one.
that.
Yes.
It was on one of my best lists. The book was kind of really light on details. I felt in some areas. I thought visually seeing the fight scenes was much better in Starship Troopers. The dialogue was a little better in the book than the movie, honestly, Phil.
Yeah. By
But-
a lot.
But
Sorry, Casper.
but the scene setting and everything else as far as the movie goes, I like that a lot.
It's another one, well, Dr. Shining again, it's another one where the visual is so well done and it's just like ripped straight from my head and put on the film.
Yes.
And, but I totally agree with your assessment of the dialogue. The dialogue in the book was more natural and it was just better. But from book to movie, gotta be my favorite that I could think of at the time, and I'm sure I'll later think, I should have said that one, but I didn't. You're up.
All right. So was that your number one?
That was my number one.
All right.
I have very low standards.
My number one so far is really a TV show.
Oh,
I thought it was really well done to a little bit towards the end of the last season of it, and it was just a little bit off. The Expanse.
okay.
So Sci-Fi, believe it or not, did a great job of actually taking what was in the book and put it on the film. They did the first 3 seasons on it. And other than a couple of fight scenes which aren't science, true, unlike in the book where they were science true.
And very hard science. Very good job
Yeah.
getting their science right.
Yeah. Other than those specific space battle type things, the rest of it was really good. And they did that more for the visual effects. And, you got to give them a little bit. Because the medium is different. Yeah, the medium is different than it actually is in the book. You can see a lot of those things in your head quite differently than what you would see on film. But I thought the entire series was really well done. I think towards the end, because the books, who wrote the books again?
I don't know. Couldn't even begin to tell you.
Oh, I know. And until I
So we'll
started
start playing the
asking
Jeopardy
about it,
music.
All right. I'm going to have to look this up. Expanse. If I can spell the Expanse. Here it is. No, that was a TV series. James A. Corey. That's who it
Okay, that sounds
That's
close
a
to what I was
Corey.
thinking of, but all right.
is. Like I said, the book itself is phenomenal, and actually, I would suggest continuing on with the series because it goes on at least 3 books past where the TV show ends. And I think the TV show ends at a good point, but they added some stuff if they were going to end it that don't really need to be in the TV show.
I
That were
really,
part of the thing. So that like animal coming back to life on an alien planet thing kind of goes in a little bit more in the book, and some of the aliens that actually created the gate systems again, the bio thing.
well, I think my absolute favorite thing about that show is the hard science in it.
Yeah.
They try to keep it true to real science as possible. With that, to me, that's what science fiction should be doing. Well, I shouldn't say should. Science fiction as almost inspirational device.
Right.
It should stick close to hard science and be like, look, here's all our hard science, and here's that little step forward to help push all the scientists in that direction.
Right. Well, it took DNA. It was like a biological alien weapon that they left. They shot into the system, unfortunately, like hit Europa or something like that in the book, or whatever planet or moon of Jupiter or Saturn it hit. It wasn't until we went to there and actually found this stuff and then started trying to manipulate it ourselves that we figured out what it did. And the evil scientists decided to destroy a whole colony on an asteroid, which ended up launching itself into Venus to create the gate that comes towards the end of the show on it. So they were a little light on some of the details in the book, which I think was necessary to do the television show better.
That makes sense. All right.
All right.
Numero dos.
Numero dos.
So these aren't in a particular order, but looking at my list, I got to go with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick.
So
Good old Blade
iRobot.
Runner.
Oh,
Blade
Blade
Runner.
Runner. Blade Runner. Original Blade Runner?
The original Blade Runner, yeah.
Okay, so not the newer one.
I enjoyed the newer one, but I think the only reason I like the original more is probably just nostalgia. It's probably just
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, well, Harrison Ford was fantastic, but I like the leather jacket. I like the seedy look of the city and everything's got
The 80s,
fog on it.
The 80s view of the future.
Yes. Yeah, it's L.A. 2 years ago. Yeah, I really like that dark, kind of gritty look. But you're like, hey, is that a shop vac? I mean,
Right.
there's something about that I like. Because it's more of like an attempt at. It's not as easy, I think.
Right.
Now we've got all the CGI we can put in. I mean,
Everywhere. Right.
Look at the de-aged Luke Skywalker in Mandalorian.
But that's like what I was saying, like when we're doing the I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go into there.
Just saying, it's easier now. Back then, I am a big fan of
The
practical
original Star
effects.
Trek, or not Star Trek, the original Star Wars. Like I said with Mos Eisley, I liked the way that came across with like a desolate
Yeah,
town, nothing in it. Like when they tried to do the remakes and add a bunch of aliens and a bunch of other stuff, it just did not fit the story as well, I don't think.
yep. And I mean, part of that again is our nostalgia. That's what we're used to. That's what we wanted. That's what we want to see more of. That's why a lot of times when your favorite artist makes a new CD, you're like, oh, that's garbage. I just want the same song on a new CD with a different word. I don't want to be completely the same. But I agree. The Cantina was overdone in the remakes, things like that. But I am such a big Blade Runner fan because everything in it seems possible
Right.
and slightly scary that it could even be probable. And I was just having a discussion with another person the other day that I would absolutely have a leg cut off to have a cybernetic leg tomorrow, just to be an early adopter on it. But then you got to think about things like Blade Runner, where it's a complete synthetic replacement instead of just a
Partial.
yeah.
And they put expiration dates on these units.
Yeah. Do we do that? I mean, we do that with our cell phones. Our cell phones have built-in failures.
We do that with all of our electronic
Yeah.
devices. They're all built-in failure points there at some point in time. Some of that is just natural, though, because the improvements just get so much better.
Yeah.
But realistically, a lot of our hardware can be reused, and we don't. It just ends up in trash.
But I mean, we do that to keep everybody employed. We do that to keep
I know.
and it's
And
good.
the economy
it's bad.
going and all kinds of stuff, and we got to find a way to try to.
But Mr.
Improve
Philip
about
K is asking, do we do that with people? When we got it, and how do we do that with? Do we share that technology with poor people? Do we share it with other countries? And it gets into a whole lot of stuff that's way deeper than I am.
About the human condition and human society.
Yeah, and it's got Harrison Ford in it. What do you got next?
I'm going to probably steal one of yours.
I doubt it.
Jurassic Park.
Damn you!
Jurassic Park.
I literally skipped over Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park was one of the most phenomenal books to movies that I saw. I think they did a very good job of recreating the scenes in the books. I think they did a really good job of recreating the science in it. I think other than the frog DNA, which ends up being a lot of memes at this point in time, everything was done fairly well. I enjoyed the original Jurassic Park a lot. I enjoyed a lot of the ones afterwards, but like when it got to like Jurassic World type of stuff, it was kind of a little less enjoyable, more for the action than the actual science or anything else behind the rest of it.
I mean, I kind of like the concept of Star-Lord fighting dinosaurs. I'm just waiting for the inevitable someone rides a dinosaur into action. It's gonna happen.
It's gotta happen.
You know it's gonna happen.
It's gotta happen.
I don't know what today is. Whatever today's date is, mark today as the day that you were told that Star-Lord's gonna ride a Velociraptor into action. You heard it here first. The only thing I don't like, well, actually, I can't even say I don't like it. The only really jarring thing between the book and the movies for me is, what's his name? The old guy, the owner of the park.
Hammond.
Yeah, Hammond. Is the difference between Hammond's character in the book and Hammond's character in the movie.
Yeah, Hammond's character in the book was a lot smarter and not this feel-good old man type of thing that he ended up being in the movie.
He had this little shady quality to him in the book, and it really fleshed his character out, I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't like super shady in the book either, but he wasn't this feel-good grandpa type like guy that the movie tried to portray him as.
But if I gotta cheer the movies on for something, it's the lawyer getting eaten in the toilet scene.
Obviously.
It just makes me giggle
every time.
Like, like, Dad, why are you laughing so hard? It's not that funny. Like, yes it is. Wait till you gotta deal with a lawyer for something. Buy a house, kid. You're gonna love watching a lawyer eating on the toilet.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's a shitty joke.
Do we have to do dad puns on this?
Yes.
So, what's your next one?
Let's see. Minority Report.
I did like Minority Report.
I thought the book, for being written, Minority Report was 56.
Right.
For being written in 1956, it was so forward-thinking with societies. But I hate to say that, because it makes it sound like people from the 50s and earlier.
I need to move the camera over.
Which
way
way?
you can look at it. Yours is the one right in front of you.
Hi, camera. Yeah, it does. That way.
Sorry.
You got to bring the camera into the love of the conversation, not to the side of my face, even though I'm so.
That's also another Philip K. Dick book.
Yes, Minority Report is Philip K. I hate to say that, so forward thinking, like our ancestors weren't as smart as we are. They are just as smart as we are. It's just they had they didn't have the base that we got to stand on. We were standing on the shoulders of giants. Their giants were a little shorter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so forward thinking about the human condition, and science fiction really is all about the human condition. But to put precog, if you've never seen Minority Report, I don't know why you're watching this. Go watch Minority Report. Don't
After the show.
Yeah, there's a pause button. I get it. Some people don't like Tom Cruise.
Probably the biggest distractor in the whole movie.
It is. But the story's fantastic.
The story was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I think they did the precogs really good in the movie. I think it made a lot more sense in the movie than it did in the book as far as that kind of went a little bit, because just the visual thing, like I couldn't really visualize it all that well in the book.
Yeah, it's easier to have that, oh wow, that's really super cool when it's a visual one on that. And a lot of science fiction lends itself to visuals because,
Yeah, I know.
It's easier. But I think you're right. I think the precogs in the description in the book, you're kind of with this amorphous, what's going on? How's that work?
Yeah, like how did that work exactly? And I think they did a really good job. And the only thing that I didn't like in the movie, realistically, in comparison to the book, would have been the, how do I put this? The going over the human condition. Like, I mean, you get why Tom Cruise is fighting against something that didn't happen yet, because technically we still have free choice. And just because somebody says it's more than likely to happen, we still have that uncertainty principle.
Yeah, there's the human value in there of, hey, I'm gonna, you know what? No, I'm not gonna. I mean, someone's gonna rob a bank, and they're like, I'm gonna rob the bank. I'm gonna shoot all these people, and they're like, yeah, there's a new episode on A&E of Gold Rush I want to watch. Oh, no, it's Discovery. Is that Discovery?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It is Discovery, actually, now that I think about it. But you totally went like fucking ADD on me so bad.
I really got to do the ad roll before I do one of these.
I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. All right. Sorry. Go
They
ahead.
change your mind. They're going to rob the bank, and then they're like, oh, you know what? No, I forgot I got to wash the dishes, and they leave. That can totally happen, but it's too late because the police have already arrested you.
For doing a crime you hadn't actually committed yet. So,
But yeah,
like I said, my next one, I had just pulled it up here, is actually a newer book,
Oh, okay.
The Martian.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? I thought that was another one, probably one of my next ones. I don't think it was on your list because it kind of showed me my list.
I didn't put it on my list only because we talked about it last week very briefly.
Yeah, but The Martian was a very well done, and it's a beautifully shot movie and all that kind of stuff that, other than the tension, I think was a little higher in the book in comparison to the show.
And I think that may only be because, what's his name?
Andy Weir, that's the author.
No, actor.
Damien.
Yeah,
Matt Damien.
Matt Damon. I think only because he is such a chill person that it didn't have.
All right, I can see that. Yeah, I can definitely see that.
I could go there and be like, look, we're Mars, Matt. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna be like?
See that?
Chill, Dave. I got this. It's cool. Let's go poop on some potatoes.
Yeah, let's go poop on some potatoes. Right?
I agree with you, though. Fantastic movie, and you're right. The cinematography is probably one of the best because, again, not all, but most of the shots are practical effect.
Yes.
And that really comes across. I mean, there's no like, hey, look at my cool space station. No.
Look at what I got to do to freaking create this greenhouse so that I can create plants, so I can have oxygen, so I can have food, so I can have something else to survive on Mars an extra 3 years than what we were planning.
And it's so well done with things you can go buy at Home Depot for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's recognizable by everybody. And you can feel that, oh, crap, I got to rely on a plastic sheet
to protect me from the Martian atmosphere.
Yeah, I think it's
the lack of Martian
awesome.
Atmosphere. Yeah.
I think you're totally right on that one.
That one was done phenomenally. All right, what's the next one on your book?
Okay. Yeah, you took that one. Took that one. Uh-oh. I've run out of because you took mine.
Oh, come on. There were more on there.
Nope, that's it for those. Then I just slide into the world's worst movie ever.
Well, you know what? I had a couple extra ones. The Hunger Games I thought was much better overall as a movie than a book comparison. Nothing against Susan Collins, but she just did not do a lot of world building for me in this. There was a lot more of the drama in the book, and I'm not a big...
Question.
Go ahead.
Question. Do you think that's because it was a young adult book and she was writing to an audience that doesn't care about the rest of the world because they're so self-centric? Oh, that one was deep. That was deep.
And that
Deep,
could be
deep.
that could be my reason behind not really liking the book as much. I thought the visual effects of the movie was done a lot better. And it's one of those, yeah.
I'm glad you brought it up because I thought about that last week. It touched on Hunger Games for a minute last week. I got in the car and I was like, I wonder if it's because it wasn't written for people of the age of 40. It was written for the age of 14. And is that why? But that comes along with the book that I'm currently reading. We talked about that I'm going to cheat and look at real quick.
Go ahead. Cheat and look.
The ministry or the Office of Mercy. So we talked about last week. I was about halfway through the book, and it was really good. It has turned into absolute garbage.
Nice.
I hate to say that.
So you went from a glowing book review to like, this is trash.
And it's actually because of that reason. So the beginning of the book is very good. It opens up on dystopian world, or a dystopian outside utopian inner dome. But it turns into like a 14-year-old young adult novel. Right in the like second third of the book, it just turns into a sappy love scene, and the science goes out the window. Everything goes out the window, and it's just about this girl's love interest on this other guy. And I'm like, I didn't mean to read Twilight. I'll finish the book, and I hope it gets better. The last hour or two of reading has been miserable.
Right. I get that.
But it was so promising in the beginning. I'm really hoping that it picks back up. To be determined.
All right. Some more kind of in my honorable mentions here. There was Dune the original, or Dune the remake. I think I like better than Dune the original movie.
Really?
A little bit more so far. I think the remake of Dune will get better with the second episode when it comes out, because realistically it's a two-part thing, and they only ended the first part of, so realistically only ended about halfway through book 1 or 2.
Probably book 1.
Halfway through book 1. I don't even think they touches on book 2 yet.
I'm okay with that.
So other than maybe one scene with the Harkness and the but I think they still did a better job visually doing that than the first movie did. I think the movie did a little bit better with the acting on it. That part. Again, it's a preference in what you're looking for from acting and that kind of stuff.
I've read 3 or 4 of the Dune series. And I absolutely loved the first Dune book.
Mm-hmm.
Children of Dune is where I just kind of was like, I'm good.
I think Children of Dune wasn't too bad, but yeah, the first Dune book was really
amazing.
Really amazing. It wasn't horrible, though, and I think I did the same thing with you. Like, I did 2 or 3 of them. But
I did like that in the movie, they upgraded, I don't know, sidestep, their offensive weaponry to the word weirders.
Right.
I like that. I like that concept. That and probably one of the best ideas for personal shielding, where it's going to stop a laser, but it's not going to stop
a sword.
It's not going to stop a sword. It's not going to stop a bullet that has such low velocity that it'll push its way through and still maim you on the inside. I like that idea. I think that was probably the first book or movie series that really had a personal shield like that in it.
Right. And it was more designed for, like I said, that high-speed sniper shot thing, not something that's low speed, so you can still contact and touch people around you type of thing, instead of frying them with the shield.
There's some jokes in there. I'm just not
I get it. I know.
Family friendly. Leave it out.
Attempt to. Like, we've already said some words on here that most of my YouTube channel, when it actually comes to this, I put down as not show.
Cooked potatoes.
All right. So that one, and you know what was another one, even though it's animated, that I liked? The Iron Giant.
Absolutely excellent. I'm a manly man. I don't cry. Yeah, no, Iron Giant. That was such a good movie. I read the book eons ago, but that was such a good, well done movie.
It really was. It really was. Even though it was animated, I really enjoyed that.
Making a comment about Batman getting darker. Pitch Black.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one too. Pitch Black.
Pitch Black is a good movie.
Didn't think about that one.
Oh, I really did like that one too. In comparison to the book, I thought that was pretty well done, even though it had XXX in it.
Ouch. Ouch. Man, well, my wife is a Vin Diesel fan. I look at Vin Diesel and I look at me and I'm like, what were you thinking, lady? Even when I was young and pretty, what were you thinking? I like that gritty look of Iron Giant, that industrial look. I think is probably a better term for it. It's got that, everything's covered in soot. Everything's got that kind of ochre hue to it, as opposed to Batman where you can't even see him anymore. But I thought that was really good. The story is, it's coming of age and dealing with emotion and all that, but at the end of that movie, I was just, you know what? I need to go into the bathroom. I need to go pee. Yeah, that's what it was. No, I think I got something, eyelash in my eye. So good. What else you got?
Well, now we can get into worse movies, or at least not as good.
Oh no, worst movie. Worst movie ever, Battlefield Earth.
So you took my number one.
It's the world's number one.
Like we talked about this already. Love the book.
That is
Absolutely love the book.
That is my favorite book other than Stephen King's It.
All right.
Uh,
I'm not a big Stephen King's fan.
I love that movie. Well, actually, I love the book. But I have read Battlefield Earth probably 6 or 7 times in my life.
Oh, yeah. No, I
And
do.
at 1,200 pages, that's a commitment.
It is.
Every couple of years, I break it out. My wife's like, I can't believe you're reading that again. And she never reads or watches the same thing twice.
Oh, wow.
She's one and done. And if,
Really? See,
if you're watching something again, she's like, why are you watching that again? Didn't you just watch that? Like, yeah, honey, 7 years ago.
next week is going to be a solo show with myself in it, and I am going to talk over my favorite author and his one series I've read all the way through, and this is like 12 books, about 6 or 7 times, all 12 books, and they're all 500-page books.
Is it a secret?
Oh, no, David Weber is my favorite author, and he does a space opera show or book series that's called Honor Harrington.
Okay.
Under Honor Harrington, and I really just love that series. I like a lot of his other books too, so I'm going to kind of touch on that.
I'm not super familiar with it.
It's a really good thing, and I will shoot you some information
Well, I
about
got
him. So yeah,
I got this piece of garbage I'm finishing up first,
uh,
and then
I
I'll read
enjoy
the first
I
one.
enjoy all the books. You got to kind of take a little grain of salt. Like Honor Harrington was one of his first books, so it's not written. It's written fairly well.
Just doesn't have the maturity of the other ones.
Yeah, the other ones are a little bit more mature as it kind of goes along. But what I really like about him is, I want to save this for next week.
Okay, save it.
Save it for next
Save
week.
it.
We'll get into this next week. So a little teaser for next week. All right. So you took my number one. So let me look up what we got here.
I have to warn Roll, if you've never seen Battlefield Earth, it's garbage. What happened was in the 70s, I think it is, late 70s, early 80s, they started trying to produce that movie. And John Travolta was actually supposed to play the male lead, who in the book is like 20. And at that time, he would have been perfect. And it took so long to get that book produced into a movie that he aged out and ended up having to play the main bad guy in makeup because he was too old. But in the book is really like kind of 4 books all jammed together.
It really is. It's but there's so much
like a
into
beautiful
that. It is
sandwich.
a beautiful book.
L. Ron Hubbard, people have a problem with L. Ron Hubbard because of his ideals for,
Oh, come on.
religion. But
I honestly thought Scientology was a joke.
it was originally.
And I never took it any further than that.
Yeah.
I thought it was a joke. It was a joke. L. Ron Hubbard said it was a joke at one point in time.
When they wrote it, they sat down together and wrote a religion. A bunch of science fiction writers sat down and wrote a religion just to do it as a lark, which is how Frankenstein got written.
Really?
They were sitting around. Mary Shelley, her eventual husband, a couple other writers were just sitting around during a storm. They couldn't go outside and drink and do drugs like they'd been doing all weekend. And she banged out Frankenstein.
Wow.
That's some of the best things can be done just because you're bored. The idea of, the world ending and aliens taking over, but then the aliens not caring about the people. The only reason they're here is for
The
the
resources.
mineral resources. And they're like, humans are just bugs over there in the corner.
Bugs over there. We'll knock them down to the point that they're back to like Stone Age and monkeys living up in the mountains type of thing,
Yep.
and then just not worry about them. They're not worth our time. Like we don't need to chase them all down.
It kicks human pride right where it hurts the most in the McDonald's. And it's so good to see, can a human come back from being a Neanderthal again?
Right?
And I mean, it's, human spirit and drive and ingenuity and all that kind of good stuff. But really, it's not really a revenge movie. Not exactly.
It's not really a revenge movie because it takes over like 200 years after they kind of
Oh,
nearly wiped us out.
it's like
it
it's
might
like
have been longer than that. Was it 1,000
Yeah,
years?
it's a long
It
time.
was 1,000 years. Yeah.
But it's a personal vengeance movie, kind of.
Yes, it definitely was.
And you understand that way more if you read the book, because in the movie you're like, oh, great, you made him eat some dead cold rats. Ooh,
Yeah.
tough life. But the book has so much more going on, and the movie leaves out, I mean, they get 1,400 pages. It leaves out so many of the characters that make it necessary.
But they had so much source material to work with. And that, I think the movie might have been more of a product of its time than anything else. This was before Lord of the Rings was done.
True. It should have been an episodic movie, or it should have been a TV show.
Or it should have been like a 5-hour movie. Like, literally should have just been that length of time, and hell be damned. Like, you can put it out as 2 different movies, but realistically, it's one movie that's 5 hours long. Would have been enough time to do most of that stuff.
I would have broke it down into 4 separate movies to cover the 4 basic chapters of the book.
You might have been able to do that. I can see what you're saying. You might have been able to do that. But yeah, definitely when they tried to jam it all into, and it wasn't even a long movie. It was like an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, it was under 2. It was definitely under 2, and it was just.
I think it was just a product of its time. It was horrible.
It made it partially because they had so little time going on. Parts of it just seemed so silly. The aliens were not explained. You never really understood that they were basically just in charge because of their teleportation technology, and that they were just robber barons.
Pretty much.
And you don't really get that feeling because there's no background.
It's really the SG-1 of the book world.
There you go. And that should have. Oh no, because there's no books for Stargate 1, is there?
Yeah, no, not originally.
No, I mean, I'm sure there's fan fiction and things written in hindsight at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
So since you took my number 1, which is kind of hard to beat anyway, I'm going to go with.
Good luck.
I'm going to go with one that's going to flip people out as my second one, and mainly because it pisses me off.
Uh-oh. I got a feeling it's going to be a Star Wars one.
Ready Player One.
Really? You didn't like the movie? Or the book? Which one did you like?
I love the book. Love the movie until the end. Until the end, where they changed the bad guy Sorensen and how he didn't shoot. Now, if the movie, since they adjusted his character that much, Sorensen's character that much, if he pulled the trigger at the end, I would have been fine with the movie.
Okay, I can totally see where you're coming from.
Just that one fucking scene fucked up the entire fucking movie.
And there's 3 edits, right? Good job,
I'm not going to edit any of this. Like I said, that's not what I tried to do.
I said poop potatoes instead of what I was gonna say, but he's
it ruined the entire movie for me.
Really?
Yes.
Now, if you had never read the book, would it have ruined the movie? I challenge you to think.
Maybe. I do think it just got cheesy at the end. Like, I really do think.
I did them in the opposite order. I watched the movie, then read the book.
But the book was the ending.
Arguably
of the book,
better, definitely, yes.
You got to do the book. Like, up till the Atari game, it was perfectly fine. Everything on up to there was exactly what I was picturing in the book. After the Atari game, one thing, I kind of like what the movie did with the winning scene, post-credit thing. I don't remember that matching up exactly like what happened in the book.
Not quite.
But I liked
reasonable
it.
Facsimile.
Yeah, well, I thought it was a reasonable facsimile. Thought it was good, but I really do think Sorensen's character, the way they built him up, and made him so much eviler in the movie versus the book, and so much dumber in the movie versus the book. That's the other part of the problem. They made his character dumber in the movie. That I just can't see me, even without reading the book. I still think that would have ruined most of the movie.
Really, I really enjoyed the movie. I didn't think I was going to.
This is what makes it an unpopular opinion on my part.
The wife said to me, "Hey, and kid was 10 or 11 when the movie came out. She's like, I want you to pre-watch this so he can watch it. I'm like, okay, cool.
And you sat down and watched it.
Sat down and watched it. I was like,
again,
oh, that's awesome.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But she did the same thing with
and I own the
Sportrunner.
Blu-ray on it. And like I said,
Just watch. Don't watch the last 10 minutes.
That's where the heartbreak is. That's where it really broke my heart.
I wonder.
Then, like I stop it every time right after the van gets pulled over.
You think maybe there's an editor's cut out there, a director's cut?
They change something different.
Yeah,
I would love to
alternate
see anything else other than how that actually he gets tackled before he can pull the trigger. Something else.
You know that the trigger's gonna be the tight shot, his hand, finger flexing, trigger moving backwards, bam, gets hit by the dog.
Yeah, or something like that. Exactly. I would have been perfectly fine with that.
You want that intent to be there is what it is.
Yeah. The fact that he goes, oh, no, I'm a sissy? Fuck. No. Can't. I just can't. No. No, you're getting real me finally.
I don't know if
these
sissy's
episodes.
the right term for that.
No.
Jelly bladder.
Yeah.
Jelly bladder, that's a good one.
Whatever you want to call it. Like, he just turns into a girl.
Yeah, I hear
as far as I
hear sissy and I hear my wife yelling at me.
No, I get it. I get it.
Okay. Let's see. Another no. The problem is I hit Battlefield Earth and I was so angry after that just thinking about the movie.
Oh no, I get that. That's where I'm at right now on Player One. Like I can't think of anything else because I'm at that anger.
Okay, here is a movie that I don't think it was ever a book. I think it was an adaptation, but I couldn't find what the adaptation was of.
Okay.
Robot Jocks.
I loved Robot Jocks though. It was the cheesy 90s. I was in the military at that point in time. Like, I loved it just because of the cheesy B flick
Don't get me wrong.
movie on it.
I love Mystery Science Theater. I love B movies. I love Robot Jocks. Just objectively a terrible movie.
Terrible story. The acting is horror. The special effects are friggin' out of the 80s. It's great.
I have an inside joke with a bunch of friends of mine. Tony and I are the same age, and we were in the military about the same time. He was Navy. I was in the Marines many pounds ago. But I can still see some of my buddies, and we'll still do the thumbs up to the camera.
Nice.
You still get that joke.
Love it.
It was such a fun.
Oh, you just turned off your microphone.
Damage.
So remember,
There we go.
bring Dave to his studio and let him touch things.
Yes, let me touch your things. It was such a fun movie, but it was so it was terribly written. It was terribly shot. The stop motion animation was
It
terrible.
was great,
But it was so much
bad,
fun.
It was great.
It is. It's like Manos. It's one of those ones where you're like,
Are we sure it's not the ultimate joke by the director?
I don't know. It could.
Like, it literally seemed that way to me. Like, the whole thing was a mech sci-fi thing to try to... There was a book that was very similar to this.
I know a couple, and that's why I'm not sure if it's an
I think they
adaptation.
came out first. I really do
Oh,
think
definitely,
they
because
came
they
out.
came out in the 50s.
Yeah, they came out first. And it was just like mankind has decided to...
Instead of human
Fighting-
contact war,
the war that we got kind of going on in Russia and Ukraine, they build these mechs to fight each other once a year, and whoever wins type of thing
gets
gets to
control.
rule.
Yeah. And I love it. I didn't even think about it, but that's kind of the story of Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. Didn't even think about that. Didn't
Oh,
put those
really?
together.
I haven't played those.
Short version is they decide the world decides that they're going to fight wars without people anymore. They're just going to use robots.
Right.
And one of the guys who designs these things screwed up and made them completely autonomous and couldn't recall them. And they're self-replicating robots. They consume biomass and minerals to self-replicate.
Right.
And we as a population could not stop them. So we basically eradicated all life on Earth and then rebuilt it with a terraforming station. But yeah, they call it the Pharaoh plague because Ted Pharaoh's the big bad guy, and he he creates these robots, and then they get a virus and they go nuts. But I never even thought about that the concept of robot jocks being we're going to have men in mech suits battle once a year. Those two didn't even touch.
But it goes right along with Running Man. It goes right along with a lot of those out there. Why? Come on.
Oh no! I mean, on my good list, I love Running Man. One of my favorites.
It's not bad. It wasn't a bad adaptation. I
think the thing that
I really like Schwarzenegger in it too. So don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I thought the book was just so much better. I think that might have been what my problem was with Running Man.
Did you ever watch Family Feud back in the 80s?
Off and on.
Ted Dawson?
Yeah, Ted Dawson.
Ted Dawson, is that it?
Dancing?
No, Dawson. So my grandmother used to love to watch, let's see, Family Feud.
Right.
And she was absolutely in love with the guy who was in, hold on, I'm going to find this here. In Family Feud.
All right.
He would kiss all the ladies, and he was,
right.
And he's the guy who played Killian in the movie.
Right.
Richard Dawson.
Dawson.
And so he's in this movie. My grandmother's 90 plus years old, or my great grandmother's 90 plus years old, and she's watching Running Man with me, and I'm like, "Hey, this is cool," because she wanted to see Richard Dawson, and she's like, "He's so handsome." And I'm like, "I don't see it, but all these ladies
you want." Yeah, I know. He gets all the ladies. I remember all that in Family Feud too.
He plays such a good bad guy. I mean, you hate Killian, and you hate him in the book, but I mean, he really gets into the hate in the movie. It's awesome. Sorry.
All right.
Tangent again. You get a shirt that says Captain Tangent.
Your turn for a movie.
So I just did. Well, no, I really love that.
You went. We were talking Robot Jocks. Was that?
Yeah, Robot Jocks was me.
All right, then it's my turn. The Giver.
I don't know that one.
The book is dystopian future. Society has decided to basically have a simplified society, and everybody lives in these specific condo type like houses, and it's all on top of a mountain because the rest of the earth has been kind of
trash,
destroyed, and stuff like that.
Wally's down there cleaning up,
and it's all just keeping everything the same. And the Giver is the person who has all the history from everywhere, and he has to give it on to the next generation, and one person gets a hold of all the history, and they end up making all the decisions for the colonies and that kind of stuff, because
I like that concept.
They have all the histories. The book was great.
When did the movie come out?
So great. 2014.
I missed that one somehow. That's kind of like the Book of Eli, which is the next one on my
Jeff
list.
Bridges in it and Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep and Jeff Bridges, huh?
Yeah.
I did not see that one. I'm going to have to go back and watch it. All right, so mine is the Book of Eli. I
read the book and I saw the movie. I see it, like I said, I don't think the movie was a bad adaptation, though.
If it had been named something else, I think it would have been better. It's one of those ones where the book was, I don't want to say phenomenal because it wasn't phenomenal, but it was really good.
It was really good.
And
it had way more detail than either the movie really gave out of.
But I think the movie needed it. I mean, everyone got the idea of what was going on, I think.
And like I said, it wasn't a bad adaptation. It wasn't the worst, but I can see where you're saying it's the worst.
I think they went too far into action. Is where
but that's what gets everybody on the screen.
I know. But this was not about which ones are factually correct and which ones are making their money and all that. This is just ones I didn't enjoy.
All right, fair enough. Damn,
what's the actor's name?
Oh God.
Yeah.
He played several different.
He played Precinct 42.
Yeah.
Another interesting book to movie change. Denzel Washington.
Denzel Washington, yes.
I love Denzel Washington's I mean, he's a great actor. Oop, we're getting that up under the chin again. But okay, sorry for the mic noise, everybody. It's just something about that just didn't do it for me.
I get it. I totally get it.
And I love that setting, like a man and his dog, a boy and his dog, rather,
Right.
or Mad Max. I like that setting, that post-apocalyptic Waterworld thing. Sorry, folks, I liked Waterworld. I don't care what you think.
I actually sort of liked Waterworld as well. I didn't think it was quite as good as the book was, but
there's another one in there. Oh, The Postman. I didn't think
The
about
Postman.
that one
That was going to be my next one.
Really?
Yes.
You didn't like The Postman? Or on the good side? It's your opinion. You no one can blame you for your opinion.
Everybody loves to hate The Postman.
I love that movie.
But that's on a lot of people's worst movie adaptations from the book. And I think the book was pretty good.
I can see reasons for that, but I think it's kind of like it's little things, kind of like you're pulling the trigger. It's little things that drove people nuts off that book to movie. But I loved the movie. I thought the movie was fantastic.
The movie was pretty good. But it's on so much other people's lists. I was just going to include it because it was an interesting topic for us to discuss here. I loved the singer in it. Oh, come on. Mary Jane's Last Dance. What? Tom Petty.
Tom Petty, thank you.
Tom
Yes.
Petty.
I'm thinking, and he just died, and he's one of my favorite singers, and I'm like, him and David Bowie, I mean, this last couple of years has been horrible.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, okay, and a pandemic.
And a pandemic, and we finally lost Betty.
Yeah. Oh, so close to her 100th birthday, too.
I know.
I've been like, look, put me on life support. I don't care what you got to do. Shock me every 5 minutes. Get me to 100. But then again, like The Patriot, Dances with Wolves, Postman, Waterworld, all those came out right in the same time
frame. And Costner got a lot of
he took a lot of flack for that.
For some of that stuff.
I mean, he
particularly
wasn't in The
Waterworld, which I didn't think was a bad adaptation either.
So I did scream at my TV a little bit about Gasoline. Gasoline only lasts about a year, maybe 2 years before it loses its potency.
2.5 years with certain stabilizers.
Yeah, you can put Stay-Ball in there, but you're not going to put Stay-Ball in a tanker.
Also, Gasoline was being refined on the tanker.
Yes,
in the book,
and
that's
why I was screaming at my TV. They don't tell you that. They briefly. So there's a part in the book where Costner's going through. Well, not Costner at the time. He's going through, and they show they tell you about the refining equipment, and then in the movie, as he's doing weird gymnastics, which really could have been left out of the movie.
Like the yoga.
He goes past the parallel bars. Just all right, whatever. He goes past that equipment, but they never really pan the camera to it. They never go like, "Where's the refining equipment for all you people who have to scream at their TV saying that gasoline doesn't last that long?" But again, like I said, it's little things I think drove people nuts between book and movie on that one.
I get it. I totally get it. Some other good sci-fi ones. They mentioned Ender's Game as a bad remake for the show. The book was not quite a kid's book, but it was a young adult book. It was a short story. It was 200 something pages. For me, that's like a short story. And yeah,
I remember being longer than that.
Ender's Game is not a very long book. The original book is not very long. I don't know if Orson Scott Card came out. Yeah,
there's
he wrote it. I know he wrote Speaker of the Dead, which came afterwards, which was a lot thicker. And I enjoyed the Speaker of the Dead, which they kind of lightly touch on in the movie.
Well, they discussed last week or 2 weeks ago. That's one of my favorite books is
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game. It is so good. I half agree with it was a crappy movie. If it's another one where if it had done
a little bit too.
It's one of those ones where if you've never read the book, and I hate to say that because it sounds so elitist, it would be a better movie because the movie by itself stands on its own feet. I mean,
It's not
it's
bad.
good. It's just in comparison, and that's what we're doing, is in comparison to the book, it leaves so much out that you
A lot of
need.
stuff about Bean. That's where it was really light on information of the battle between Bean and Ender.
Yeah, it needs to be there.
And what was the Fallen book to Ender's Game that was more all about Bean?
I do not remember the name of the book.
But I know I read it.
Yeah.
Like, it was totally Bean
all part
based.
of all part of the Ender saga, and it's necessary.
Really went back and revisited a lot of what happened, and that came out before the movie came out. Like,
Oh yeah,
they could have
years before.
They could have included so much more history behind it,
And for whatever reason, they chose not to.
and they chose not to.
I like the idea of the children fighting war. I mean, if we had synthetics that could be controlled by some kid with a controller, everyone would be speaking Korean right now because, the Korean video game gold miners would win everything. But
Okay. And you say I say stuff inflammatory. All right.
that's not inflammatory at all. If you play anything that deals with online currency like World of Warcraft or anything like that, the Korean gold miners they are a tour de force. I mean, that's their whole job, 12 hours a day, is to sit in a building that is nothing but cubicles playing World of Warcraft, generating gold coins to sell on the market for real cash. And when you do it for 12 hours a day and you get paid for it and you've got minimums you have to reach, you get good.
Right.
So if we switched our wars to, synthetics controlled by, Fortnite players, Koreans are going to win. I'm not being mean to Koreans at all. That's their job. It's their way of life. It's quite the industry.
Anything else in my books? What do you got? You got another one?
We already covered mine. Although no, I'm definitely going to go home and watch The Running Man.
Ooh, here's an interesting one. So this one showed up on the list that people did not like the remake of from the book to the movie.
Okay.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Ooh, which one?
The 2005 version.
Okay. I'm 50-50 on that one.
That one I liked a little bit better than the first BBC movie that kind of came out. That was The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
I enjoy both.
I did too, but I like the 2005 version better than the BBC version.
Is it because you can equate your experience and your pop culture with it better?
Possibly.
Now,
Now, the BBC version did do for the English people a lot more of that.
than us.
And I got it. I get it. It's on this side of the pond,
I have the same thing going with Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Okay.
So they did Dirk Gently.
The book I actually read too.
Yeah, it's a real good book. I had to sit back and read that book twice before
Did
I
they
got
make this into a show or something?
Oh, you didn't know about that? Oh, absolutely.
Dresden Files is the one
Good one.
I like as well. But yeah, go ahead. I did not know that they made Dirk Gently into a show.
Absolutely. Maybe 3-4 years ago, just pre-pandemic. And they did a great job, and you're never going to believe who's in it.
Who?
Daniel Radcliffe.
Nice.
And it is totally worth it.
I will
Absolutely,
have to check
totally
that
worth
out.
it.
I will what's it available on, do you know?
Probably
I'll look it up later.
probably BritBox or maybe PBS. But yeah, definitely watch it. They had a Dirk Gently's probably mid-on.
This was done on PBS?
No, it was I don't know who did it, but it's British, so it probably got shown on PBS. So there was an earlier version, like 90s, early 2000s.
Oh, so they did this twice. I did not know this.
3 times actually. There's one from the 60s or 70s rather, and it was a BBC radio play
Right.
that then they did a video for, and then it sat in language for a while. Then they did the remake, and then they did the current one. Highly suggest you watch the current one. In
Well,
fact,
I
there's
will
a
the
season
current
2
one.
coming out.
I may go back if I really like The current one. I may go back and watch some of the older ones just to compare.
The
Just 'cause
very
it's
the very first one's
but
not
that-
great.
Dirk Gently is not really sci-fi though.
It is. It's all sci-fi. Everything is Dirk Gently sci-fi. You got
It's more than
time
fantasy.
travel. You've got spaceships and aliens.
It's I know, but I like the science in my science fiction. Like I
I
tell
do
you.
prefer hard science to my science fiction. Yes, it's definitely soft science, but it's a lot of fun.
All right. I will definitely have to check this out, and I'll get back to
There's the
my
other one.
listeners.
There's another one that pops in my head when we're talking about that. Torchwood.
Torchwood.
That popped
That's
in my head.
a show that I was planning on watching. I hadn't gotten to.
Oh, watch the first season or two.
Is it like
So it's a
the
spin-off
HBO
of
Max
uh,
Westworld type of thing?
no, it's a spin-off of Doctor Who.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
what it was. I forgot.
Yeah, Torchwood is a lot of the first season's kind of shaky because they're really kind of feeling out the characters and who they're going to be. Second season's really good. Third season, fourth season gets a little.
What do you think about the Doctor Who, by the way? Because that's again sort of science fiction.
Oh, it is all science fiction, man. Again, it's soft science. It's
Yeah,
not.
that's why I call it sort of science fiction.
Yeah.
Like the books, all right.
I love Doctor Who.
I like the old 80s show. Like I used to watch that all the time on BBC or PBS.
Yeah. The fifth top. I had so years ago I decided I'm sitting there with my LightScribe CD burner, and I'm like, I'm going to burn every episode of Doctor Who,
Nice.
and I did. Still have it, and I did LightScribe screen printing on the top side of the CDs, and everything's great. And now I can just go click, 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 and there it is.
Nice.
It took me years to accumulate all that. Now I can
I'm
just
sure.
go click, click, click. There it is. William Hartnell, the first Doctor. It's amazing to see the difference between William Hartnell and then like then you go to Baker or Tennant, and you see the difference in the Doctors, and you're like, wow, it's such a different show. The new Doctor, Jodie,
The female Doctor.
yeah. Sorry, world, I'm not forgetting her name because she's female. I'm forgetting it because I can't remember a thing.
I can't. I haven't even
Jodie.
watched this. This is not
I can't think of it.
up my alley at all.
So it went from David Capaldi, who is a fantastic actor, who I always hate the Doctor the first couple of episodes.
Of course.
Every time it's a
It's
new
a change.
Doctor. Yeah. Like when it went from Tennant to Smith, I'm like, I hate this. I can't. I'm never watching this again. And then I'm like, all right, I'll watch a second episode. I say, oh, damn it. I hate it when I fall in love with these guys. I have not been able to get into the new Doctor, not because of the Doctor, but because of the companions. I don't like companions this go around. But this is her last season. They're changing to another Doctor.
Yeah,
At Christmas.
I did read about that.
I haven't been able to get into the companions on this one. Like when they did the
I
reboot
haven't
and
been able to get into any of the reboots. Like the last thing I was watching was the 80s one.
when they do the reboot, 2006, 2009. David
Again, I'm
Eccles.
not-
David Eccles, I would have really been happy if they had. He only did one season. I don't know why, but the Doctor came back as a leather jacket wearing guy who looked like he walked right out of
Now it's this
Estonia.
alternate worlds thing for the new Doctor,
Nope.
or it's
Just continuation.
Continuation. Okay.
And his
Kind of like the Giver, they kind of give the Doctor name to somebody new every so often.
well, yeah, and well, I mean, he physically transforms into a new body. And that's how they keep the show going. When an actor ages out or starts becoming unpopular, the Doctor dies and he transforms into a new person. But it is a lot like The Giver. It's just instead of being like, hey, here's the stuff, it's like, here's the stuff. They went to the new Doctor, David Eccles, and his companion was Rose.
Okay.
He only did 1 year, and I don't know why. I haven't really looked up why, but I know the companion Rose was moving on to save that show with the horror creatures. I'm such a terrible person.
Horror creatures.
Yeah, it wasn't American Horror Story. It was on HBO. It was like really gritty vampire and Dr. Frankenstein, or no, Frankenstein's monster, and Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, werewolf, Dorian Gray. Again, there's people screaming at their TVs, "You're an idiot!" But she moved on to that, so that companion was gone. And when a companion disappears on Doctor Who, it's pretty much over for that doctor. They're changing the doctor out. I think maybe only 3, maybe 4 out of the 14 doctors has ever survived the loss of companions.
All right.
Sorry, I drugged that down again.
All right.
I apologize.
So, we got anything else we want to discuss about good to bad movie remakes?
No, I'm gonna hit Halo when I get home.
I did like the Halo series beginning here. I really did like it as a sci-fi show, but I'm not into Halo lore. All right, so some of the articles I read afterwards is like people were pretty inflamed because it did not follow Halo lore.
Spoilers.
So that may insinuate a few people. I like it as a sci-fi series so far.
Well, I was never a PvP Halo player. I'm not.
That's why I don't really follow the lore. As I couldn't do that. I really sucked at first-person shooters for the longest time, and I've gotten okay at it. Like I got a KD of like 1 now,
Hey,
where I don't feel bad. It's a lot better than like 0.08, like when I started.
Yeah, mine's usually around 0.25, 0.3.
So like a 1.0 is pretty good. You know, that's about where I'm at now. Now I don't feel so bad playing first-person shooters.
There's a tangent. My kid was screaming the other day, and I thought something that like fell out of a chair or something. My kid's 16, a boy, and annoying. 16, boy. Didn't need to put annoying. That was redundant. So I go upstairs to find out what he's like. I get it. I'm like, what? Is the house on fire? I had a 20 kill streak in Destiny. I'm like, you just made me get up and come all the way up here to see if you're dying. And then I had to think to myself, I'm like, you're old. You were so old because at 16 you would have
been doing the same thing. I would be doing the same thing. Like my 16-year-old's always yelling at the TV down in the basement. I have him in my game room with some sound insulation. I can still hear him every once in a while. That's also where I shoot when I'm not at the studio here, my alternate studio.
He's got a bat cave.
I do have a bat cave. It's not a fancy bat cave. It's a little dingy. It's a little grimy.
It's all right.
Not the best background, but it is what it is.
Darken the lighting a little bit and call it the bat cave.
Darken the lighting because it's just not very bright down there. It's not even me trying to darken the lighting.
It's 2022 Batman.
All right. So we are kind of getting away. We're a little over an hour and 16. On the audio file, it's a little longer than the video because we paused the audio in the middle
I
of
don't
the
know. I just show it to be pretty.
And because we clicked the wrong button. And I might edit that around there a little bit.
Notice his right hand's with the mouse.
Jumpy. It's jumpy. It wasn't even that mouse. It was the mouse on the table there. That's the one that stopped the other audio. All right, guys. So we're going to sign off. Like, listen, and share. And I appreciate you guys. Thanks. Bye.